welcome to the second episode, the Hawthorne Legacy in our Inheritance Games saga. I'm your
Woo!
host, Maggie,
And I'm also your host. My name is Laura.
and we are just picking up right from where we left off with the last book. Xander was left a clue that he did a great job bringing his brothers together, but that's not the end of it. He's got to find Tobias Hawthorne, Toby
Yeah.
Hawthorne's lost son.
What a kind of load to get is like a clue to introduce a new puzzle. It's like, oh, by the way, your dead uncle that we've talked about this whole time, he's alive. Find him. It's like I would love some more explanation, but that's neither here nor there.
I absolutely love it too. Like, imagine in real time, whatever 300 pages is, let's say, I don't know, 2 months, you've
Yeah.
been working and busting your balls off on this case, and you get assigned another case that's not even done yet?
Yeah, it's like okay, first case is done. There's a secondary case that's very closely related to the first one. That's exhausting.
Truly, the resolution of the last one was essentially just walking away, being like, this girl's pretty important, and now you know why. So here's the next step in this long saga.
Yeah, I'm still also confused. Why did Xander bring Rebecca and Thea along for this? Because it's like they're not that important, but okay.
Well, I think two females always need to have their one gay twink bestie, and that's what their dynamic is to me. It's the two lesbians, and then this guy who's pretty bi-coded, who
Yeah.
is their bestie, I guess.
Yeah,
But I
Xander
hope
really
God
does give
answers
bestie
that.
vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
All right. Well, then I guess we should just dive in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's fucking
Now that
go
now
for
we've
it.
done the setup from where what we're diving into.
You guys are all
So,
caught up. We're looking for Tobias Hawthorne in the second. Let's
and
wrap things up.
Avery is starting off things strong by telling Jameson the first time that she saw Harry slash Toby, because it was revealed that Harry, the homeless man she played chess with in the park all these years, was Toby all along. And yeah, so she's like kind of recalling that. They make a bet of who can start to kind of piece things together on this puzzle first, which I also think is hilarious that they're totally disregarding that this is like Xander's puzzle. They're like, no, 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 we're not helping him. We need the satisfaction of doing it on our own.
We're actually going to take his puzzle and we're going to make it a little sexual thing between us. They're
Yeah.
wagering that
Oh, they have such a puzzle kink.
they truly, you ever heard of breeder kings? Get ready for puzzle kings. They make a wager that he won't kiss her again if she wins, and she has to forgive him for being an asshole after the Blackwoods in the last book, where he essentially indicated she was a game to him. She's
Oof.
just got to forget about that. She can't think about it anymore.
I
We're
mean, honestly,
over
I'd
it.
want someone to forget about this too. I that's a pretty warranted thing to ask. Like, hey, maybe we just like let that go.
Listen, I can't hold a grudge for the life of me. My mind is Swiss cheese. If someone apologizes for not texting back after 2 hours, I go, honestly, after I sent
You're
it,
like, we texted 2 hours ago.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. And she's also still keeping her distant from Grayson, our little moody bat guy in the corner.
That guy.
He gives Dracula vibes. Tell me I'm wrong.
So the whole drama with them is she caught him sleeping upside down, and he was like, "This is so embarrassing. Oh my
And then
god."
he caught her drinking, and then she caught him drinking some blood, and he was like, "This is so awkward." And then he hissed when Mrs. Laughlin put some garlic bread on the table for dinner.
I thought that was a crazy twist, but I was like, I
It
guess
was
we're going with
weird.
it. So she has some weird thing with them. They also have tension, but it's kind of undefined because she's with Jameson. We don't. It's that's just what's happening. So she is ransacking through Toby's desk drawers that have photos of her in them, and her dad's signature on her birth certificate is highlighted. And she's like, what the heck is that about?
Whoop.
But she's got to get
Um,
ready for this NFL game.
yeah, Alyssa's like, "Hey, you're a billionaire. You have to make an appearance because people love billionaires."
She owns the Texas Lone Stars.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she's gonna get ready for this NFL game, and Avery's kind of dancing around with Alyssa, like, "Hey, remember in book one when I asked you to go give money to my bestie Harry? Did you ever do that?" And she's like, "No. Let's talk football." And so they go to the game, and things aren't good because Avery's dad Ricky is there, so he's kind of back in the picture, clearly trying to get some money out of this.
So when she gets to the press box, she is shaken up. Grayson is there asking if she's okay, but I mean she's a little ruffled. He said, they couldn't be anything. So now she's like, what the hell? Why are you showing up for me?
Yeah, and she's like, "Okay, well, here's a wrench in your plan. Toby is probably alive. Don't tell anybody about it."
Well, Grayson is like, let's step away. Confusing mixed signals he's sending her.
Yeah.
So they go up this elevator to a private suite, and he also says not to tell anyone that Toby's alive, and she's like, well, Jameson already knows. What are you talking about? It's fine.
Yeah, and then there's a moment here where some fireworks go off. Avery, PTSD, freaks out a little bit because she was shot at during the last book.
Makes
So that's
sense.
the whole thing. It makes sense that she's not just like over that.
She's like on the ground kneeling, and Jameson kneels down to her and takes her head in her hands to make sure that she's okay. And I thought that was a
And
very
Grayson
sweet,
just
touching
stands
moment.
there awkwardly.
Hands in his
He's just
Armani
looking
suit
at the
pockets,
fireworks, admiring them. He's like, "This is a good show."
twirling his pocket watch, being like, it's probably time we should go.
He's he's like, "Well, the game's about to start, gang. We better get back down to our fancy box."
Hey, guys, lads, don't you like a 30th century
Yeah,
bank?
he's got that transatlantic accent. My, would you look at the time?
He's like, I gotta go own the railroads. So, at school the next day, Jameson tells Avery to meet up with him because he's got new details on this case, and she does pass by Xander scheming with Rebecca and Thea, which is like, what is that about? But
And
Thea
he's
says
like,
that they're talking about a fundraiser for
yeah,
Emily.
they're like, "This is a private lunch. You can't be here," which is so weird. Very, very Thea's not good at the game, part of this.
I know.
Yeah, but Avery's also gonna go to her locker, and she's finally getting bullied by these people.
Finally, thank God. Laura and I's answers were, or prayers were answered.
Maggie and I love a bullying side plot in a book.
Every single night we prayed to God. We said, please, please, please humble this protagonist. Someone bully her, and our prayers
That's
were
so
answered.
mean.
No, I'm kidding. This poor girl, she's been through
Right,
so
that
much. She
sucks.
literally got
Like, yeah,
shot
like this
at.
is like the last thing she needs right now.
Someone left online comments threatening her, and they cut out a photo of her dad in a newspaper saying he just wants to talk to her daughter, and like hung it up in her locker, which really sucks. But I do admire that we brought back old school bullying because it's all online nowadays and people just don't
Yes.
build character that way. So I love the nod to nostalgic
This
bullying.
really hits the element of surprise with bullying that you might be looking for in a novel where bullying is
If
present.
you want old school bullying, check out the inheritance games.
I like that we're harping on this so much, even though this is like the only instance of anything suspicious happening.
True.
Um, Oren's gonna come through, our lovely bodyguard. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about any of this because I've got a watch list." And he kind of goes through like the people he's keeping tabs on just to make sure that Avery's safe at all time. We love a king who knows how to use the internet.
Grayson does stress Avery, drop it. Stop looking for Toby because if he's actually the heir, you're going to lose all your security detail. And the people on that list, some of them probably won't stop looking for you once you are out of the like limelight, famous, going to get a whole ass $1 billion. So maybe
Yeah.
stop looking for Toby.
Yeah, and so Avery's not gonna take Grayson's advice. She's
No,
gonna
no.
immediately go tell Xander that she knows Toby is alive. And then Xander's like, "Okay, let me tell you about my game too." And he has a message that says, "Find Toby." So like they're like, "Okay, we're in cahoots now."
Somehow he has a sledgehammer and they break down Toby's old wing. And in Toby's old wing, they find drugs. Okay,
Batty.
addict. Batty. Two takes on that. And no, I'm kidding. We love drugs. And they also find a here at Yaoi Reddit, we are pro drug. They also find a William Blake poem about essentially it boils kind of down to just being an angry guy.
Yeah, he's just kind of was an angry teenager, which like most teenagers are. So like this isn't shocking.
Doing drugs and being mad, that's like every 15-year-old.
Yeah. But they can't continue their deep search into Toby's abandoned room because Mr. Laughlin's gonna show up through the sledgehammered hole and be like, "Hey, you get the hell out of here." To which I'd counter like, "Bitch, this is my house." Like,
I know. He's essentially mad that she is lying to Nan about Toby being alive. But again, my house, my rules. I can lie and fabricate as much as I want. Let me
yeah, you're
gaslight
making
the old
shit up.
woman.
And he's
Yeah.
obviously told Mrs. Laughlin about this because the next time Avery is going into the kitchen and asking for a banana, Mrs. Laughlin's being super like cold and weird about it. To which I'd remind her, like, "Bitch, this is my house.
Again,
You
my
work for
house.
me."
Yeah, I would need everyone to step off. Listen, I could gaslight all of you and get you committed. Okay?
Yeah,
So
think about that.
I'll paint the 100-year-old woman as crazy if I want to. If that's my MO for the week, that's my MO.
I like how we very quickly went to like, oh, fuck this. Fuck Mr. and Mrs. Laughlin.
Here at Yowie Reddit, we are pro bullying, pro putting the old woman in a crazy house. Anyways, so Thea at school has a tab pulled open that Avery oversees because she's kind of getting nowhere with this William Blake poem.
Yeah.
And it says that fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. And she's like, oh my god, there's a law book in Toby's wing. So we got to go back to Toby's. Fuck bricking it back up. We're knocking
Yeah.
it down.
And Avery also has a new bodyguard named Eli now. Oren's expanding his dimensions there.
Mhm.
But yeah, back in Toby's wing again. Their book is gonna lead them back to this like cipher disc and have
Mhm.
them decode another riddle, which leads them to using black light on the walls, which reveals insanity of just small script over every single wall. It's his diary, which is insane.
Wouldn't you be terrified? You have to essentially break down the wall to this layer of your wing that's been bricked up. There's writing on the walls. I mean, the drugs would be chill. I'd be like, that fucking rules.
Yeah.
And then there's just angry poems everywhere. I would feel like that's a malevolent spirit. I'm not fucking with it. I've seen enough of James Wan's movies. I'm
No.
not
Yeah.
listening.
But these crazy kids love a puzzle, so they're gonna start reading this, maddening like diary. Because especially because it's like when I like journal. Sorry, my cat is stop it. My cat is playing with my microphone.
Yeah, he is. He's
I'm
having a
gonna
good
move that
time.
up here. I'm
There
keeping
are
that in.
cryptic messages, and essentially it reveals why he is so angry was something happened at 16 that we're not essentially sure about, but Avery does realize the handwriting looks like the same handwriting that is on her birth certificate as her dad's
Mhm.
name. So
Yeah,
is Toby
and
her
we
dad?
we also do learn from the diary that things changed for Toby when he found out he was adopted. So it seems like there was another thing, but we also kind of get the ball drop that, Toby found out he was adopted and was not happy about it.
Jameson at school is like, listen, Avery, this is bigger than us. So maybe we should call off this bet because I mean, Toby could be your dad. This is a
Yeah.
real life stakes now.
Yeah, exactly. And they almost kind of kiss here, but then they don't, which fun. And then they're gonna go onto the school roof and golf so they can, be rich kids up there. And Avery suggests that the old will might have some of the answers they're looking for, so they're going back to the OG paper from the first book.
But as we know, there's another plot going on, which is sometimes the press shows up in this book. So she has to do media training with Landon before going over this will with Xander. And they find a list of charities when they later go on to this will, which afterwards, when they're going over Grayson, they find four that are unusual.
Yeah.
There's the Alport Institute, Camden House, Collins Way, and Rockaway Watch Society.
Yes.
Essentially, one is inpatient slash substance abuse, another is dementia for memory research, but she doesn't have like that much time to think about these because Nan wants to take a walk with her because she also wants to figure out questions on these
Yes.
rarities.
Yeah. So Avery's doing her research on the charities. She's talking to Nan. She's starting to wonder if maybe Toby had memory loss because of the one charity. And Nan
Which
does imply,
she suggests to Nan, but Nan is like pissed off,
well,
apparently.
Nan does imply that he was sent to Camden House at one point. So she is getting something out of this.
Mhm.
But Mr. Laughlin's going to interrupt before she can get more answers and say that he boarded up Toby's wing again.
God, they can't do anything with that wing. Again, her house, her rules.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. When Amy comes back, she overhears kind of an aside that Nash and Libby are having a heated convo about Elisa, so who's going on there? And she does find a cow's heart in her room with
Horrifying.
horrifying.
Absolutely horrifying.
Even worse, there's a kitchen knife in the cow's heart, which is the same brand as one in the kitchen. So people are again, they're like, is it an inside job? Are we doing inside
Yeah,
job
Oren's
again?
like, "It has to be one of the staff. I'm a detective." And Oren also is warning Overy to not Overy, Avery to lay low. on
No,
the
I
whole
think that's a
Toby
perfect
thing.
name.
That's how the kids can bully her next.
The next, so actually we're not even gonna tease it. The next book is all about a quest into her legal birth name, Ovary, and
Oh
what
god.
it leads to. So get ready for that. Very exciting. Um, Oren indicates again, people are like, listen, Avery, there's a fucking heart in your house now.
Yeah.
Maybe you should leave the search for Toby alone. Because
And
I don't want your life threatened either.
And Avery's not going to listen to this. She's going to do more charity research into these 4 off charities. And she realizes that there's some sort of story here. Colin's Way, we learn, is one of the charities that was founded for one of the people who died in the same
Mhm.
fire Toby apparently perished in. And get this, Colin's uncle's name is Sheffield Grayson. And when she looks at the about page on that website, he looks a whole lot Grayson Hawthorne.
So she prints out a photo of him. Her and Jason are gonna go confront Sky, hold it up to Sky, and go, "Do you know this man?" And she is so nonchalant about it. She basically confirms and also implies, sorry, she doubles down on this too. She implies she wants another kid and she's sleeping with a new man. Who could that new man possibly be?
It's Avery's
It's
dad.
Avery's dad.
She says, "Oh yeah, that's Grayson's dad. And speaking of dads, Avery, I'm fucking yours." And then she's like, "You can leave."
This absolute mic drop. Oh
And
my
Alyssa's
god.
like, "Hey, Avery, no time to be weird about whatever you're doing right now. You have to go to another gala. Also, I have emancipation papers for you to sign. Also, I got Max a new phone so you can talk to her. And also stay away from Jameson." So Alyssa's really just trying to check off all her boxes.
I mean, she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she should have friends outside of the house,
Yeah.
one of them being Max. So Grayson kind of senses that Jameson and Avery are up to things, and he tries to talk to Jameson and get him out of continuing this dig into Toby because he doesn't want Avery's safety to be compromised. But then they pull an absolute trump card on him. They tell him that Sheffield Grayson is his dad, and now he's like, well, fuck, I guess I'm involved now too.
Yep. So Grayson and Jameson are gonna do some brotherly bonding and go meet Grayson's daddy. But Avery's gonna stay
Buddy.
behind because she's still uncertain about her rules that she's never allowed to like leave the house essentially. And Xander is like, "Hey, Avery, I saw Grayson and Jameson just leave. Something's clearly up." So they all kind of fill in on the details that they each have. And Xander says Sheffield is also a part of Camden House too,
Mhm.
and also has learned that he's Grayson's dad.
We get a really fun surprise, which is that Max shows up in the flesh. Great timing because it's also her birthday. I think
Yeah.
was it Max's birthday or Avery's birthday?
It's both Max's birthday and Emily's birthday. So just like a fun little cute thing.
Crazy. Avery has to get ready for this gala though, so she's like, "All right, you got to go to the Dead Girl gala with me, I guess." Right?
Yeah, right? And this in this gala prep, Max is also like, "Hey Avery, found a tabloid that said your mom had a fake name too. Isn't that crazy?" And also at this gala, Sky and Ricky are there together as a couple. And Ricky is an awful human being. And he's like, "By the way, chickadee, I'm going to file custody for you soon." Like, of course it's not going to work out because he hasn't been her, like, guardian for years. But it's like, dude, what do you think you're going to get out of this?
She's got to play it cool though. The press is around. She's got to look presentable. She asks Elisa on the way out because she's so mad for a DNA test. And in return, she's like, fine, I'll play this little game. I'll bet on the silent auction. And I mean, she just kind of goes wild on random objects: a clock, a teddy bear, a baking
Awesome.
set. It seems like a great gala too because Mrs. Laughlin, super drunk, starts crying about her kids and like pushes Libby out of the way. Sounds like a great time. I'd love to
Yeah,
be
I was
there
gonna
as
say
a
the gala really
spectator.
took a turn for me when Rebecca's mom Mallory started freaking out about all of her children dying, and it's weird because she uses the plural term, but she only had 2 daughters, and Rebecca's still very much alive, and she also pushes Libby down, and then there's a lot of tension between Libby and Avery, and like Avery's like, "Why did you do that, causing a scene?" And Libby's like, "I guess I won't cause any more scenes. Sorry for trying to help a drunk woman."
Sorry, we gotta get Meggie and Laura on the ground floor of one of these silent famous people auctions because it sounds like a blast. I think we'd be great commentators on this.
Yeah, 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 we'd be like, "Uh-oh, Mr. Peterson booking on the clock again. Hope that turns out for him."
Exactly. So Libby also becomes upset because Avery didn't tell her that Sky tried to kill her and also realizes that Sky emancipated. Oh wait, no, Avery emancipated herself from Libby.
Yeah.
Kind
But
of a
Avery doesn't
bummer.
have time to think about this because two drunk boys are giving her a call and just kind of telling her how everything went. She does overhear them talking to Sheffield on the phone. It's not going well. And we also get a bomb drop that the fire was not an accident and not caused by this girl, Kaylee, who it's been framed for years that she was the one who caused it. And then the line cuts out. So that's fun.
I mean, it's good that that is the information that she gets from them not hanging up, but if it was someone who didn't actually forgot to hang up, I would want them talking about me, especially if I'm both a little in love with them.
Yeah.
Hello, where's the attention on me?
Yeah, talk about me more, not your father that you just found out existed.
Every time my mom forgets to hang up, I get so excited because I'm like, oh, what shit she gonna talk? And sometimes she does, and sometimes she doesn't, but
Wow.
that's
What
the
you we
closest I'll
get we
get.
take what we can get. Avery is going to start looking through her property binder, looking for clues, because she also noticed some other clues at the auction, and she realizes that she has a cabin in Colorado, I think, named True North, which is a direct line from one of the will clauses that was directed at Sky.
Yeah, so she's gonna ask Elisa who if she can go, but obviously Elisa's like, no. And then Libby shows up, ride or die, and reminds Elisa that she is her guardian, so Elisa better find a fucking way to get her to Colorado if she wants to go.
And Elisa's like, fine, one night only. And Xander's like, great, I'm coming. Thea's coming and Rebecca's coming. And I brought the compass that he left for Sky so we can keep clue hunting.
Why not? Jameson and
So,
Grayson are also gonna show up.
woo. And they're gonna kind of catch each other up on like the lowdown of what's going on. Grayson's gonna teach Avery how to ski. Cute. They're kind of
Ugh.
talking on the lift.
Ever since Snowy Settings, I feel like To All the Boys I've Loved Before has ruined me because I'm like, hot tub scene, hot tub scene. Peter Kravitsky in the hot tub.
And
Put
Maggie,
Jameson in the hot tub.
you are in luck because after Avery walks in on Rebecca and Thea kissing and not doing clue hunting, after that they
Yeah.
find a note and a picture of Toby, Zara, and Sky with a random boy, and I identify that boy as Jake Nash, aka Nash's father.
Reggie's dad.
Um, Max is going to convince Avery to go into the hot tub with a lonely Jameson in the hot tub.
I know, listeners, I was shocked too. This is a trope that I mean, I guess this isn't a romance book, but every book should have. Snowy
Hey,
hot tub, hot.
if
Love
there's
it.
tropes that Maggie and I love, enemies to lovers, hot tub scene.
Hot tub scene. So, I mean, Jameson's just kind of like in the hot tub. Seems kind of jolted about like all of this. I mean, especially like meeting Grayson's dad. And
They're
they're
gonna
like
agree to be
they're
casual, like kind of
they
like
are
that's kind of hot.
they're like talking about the clues. Avery's like, okay, Zara had a ring, like a ring left, so that must be the next clue. And he goes, okay, Eris, what am I thinking about? And she goes, not the ring. And he goes, no, not the ring. And then she says she's also not thinking about the ring. And then that's when they start making out.
But then like so there's like a bunch of like crackling in the woods. It's clear that like something's up and someone's interrupting and someone's watching. Security guy Eli can't catch him. He is fumbling hard. And then they're
Mhm.
gonna go back. They can only do one night only, so they gotta go back because they also realize they need the wedding ring, which is what Zara has from the will to kind of put Sky's compass and Zara's wedding ring together.
Exactly. So they go back, they're gonna snoop for this ring. Xander, Jameson, and Avery, they're kind of looking through Zara's shelves, and all of a sudden Zara shows up to confront them. She's like, all right, fine, you guys can have the ring. I'll give you 5 minutes with it for $5 million.
Which
Come on
honestly,
down.
if you have $47 billion, that's kind of pocket change. Like,
Yeah. What's 5 billion to that?
yeah,
Nothing.
right?
Or 5 million.
Um,
Even that.
but
That's
but
like a couple
they say
dollars.
They say, "No, no, no, we need a bargain here." So they go to Nan and they get Tobias's late wife Alice's ring from her to trade Zara for Tobias's wedding ring, which she has, and Zara agrees.
Exactly. I also do love that Nan kind of makes a dig at Zara and implies she's a hoe. She's like, she's not true to love. She runs through men. She had affairs
Hey,
all the time when she was
hey,
married.
Zara and Sky have a lot of things in common, and namely it is that they run through men a lot.
Zara, you would love The Ethical Slut. I've never read
Yeah.
it, but I'm sure you would enjoy it. So she gets her mother's rings, and on both of these rings, both her mom and her dad's, there are numbers on them. And Zara seems to imply that she knows what the numbers mean, but she's not going to tell. She's not a snitch.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm also not really interested in playing any games. Like, you guys have fun. I'm out. Like, I just don't care anymore." But Nash and Libby are also gonna go off to Connecticut to look for Toby IRL. So they're gonna do a little side quest together. They do get an envelope from a homeless guy that says "Stop looking," which seems pretty on the nose there that they actually found him.
And Avery's pretty upset about this. She's feeling pretty overall abandoned. So she goes and starts punching his bricked up portion of the house. And as she's winding up to punch, she hits Jameson just kind of square in the chest.
Yeah.
And she feels
And
pretty bad about it.
and don't worry, because Jameson has a sledgehammer and he's ready to get to work and knock this thing that Mr. Laughlin put back up, back down again. And then instead of them looking for clues in here, they just start making out in Toby's old room.
Yeah, cause which I again, haunted vibes in there. Wouldn't wanna be the place that I it's not even like a hard kiss. They emphasize that it's the first time they kiss gently, so I don't
Yeah.
think I want an intimate kiss in this black lit crazy writing on the
Yeah, this
walls.
blacklit crazy room of a person that might be your father. Romantic, right?
I imagine a twin bed too in there, which I just don't like either.
Jesus. So they start
Anti-twin
to think
bed.
about like what these like numbers on these rings could mean. They start to consider that they could be coordinates, thinking that it could be somewhere in Costa Rica. That kind of lines up with one of the properties. And Thea's kind of do a little sidebar here and say, "Hey, Rebecca's not doing so well, Xander. I could use your help with her." Um, and we kind of leave off there because Melly, one of the servants, finds a snake in Avery's bathroom. So she's just getting gifts left and right.
Things are not turning up Avery. So, to distract from everything going on, Grayson, Jameson, Avery, and Max play strip bowling. I really thought there was going to be a Grayson Max thing, but also she's way too fun for him.
No.
Where you can only either hit one pin or none without going in the gutter. I don't really understand how that's possible. Um, but Xander does interrupt. Can't take his eyes off. It's emphasized Max is wearing a polka dot bra. I wrote hee hee down because
I
you
am
know I love
very
a hee hee moment.
I am very here for the Xander and Max slow burn romance. I'm super in
Mm-hmm.
for it. And but Xander's not coming in. He's one disappointed that he missed strip poker, or
I
sorry,
know.
strip bowling, but he also has news. Toby was a Laughlin. He is Rebecca's mom's other kid that she had when she was a teenager. Dun
Which
dun
feels
dun.
so cruel that like the Hawthorns essentially adopted him pretending that he was Nan's or maybe Alice's son. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
entirely
yeah,
sure.
because it was like their younger brother, remember? So it was Alice's other kid, third
And then you
kid.
just have to kind of like live and work around, I guess, your son being there too, and you can't
Yeah,
say anything.
and yeah,
Really
especially like
sucks.
Mr. and Mr. Laughlin being like grandparents, but not being able to really like see or do anything.
I
But
know.
Avery does tell Mrs. Laughlin that she thinks that Toby is her dad. So it's kind of a sweet moment. I thought Mrs. Laughlin was gonna be like really like pissy about it, but she's actually really nice and really like happy to hear that.
Yeah, the embrace. So her and Rebecca also kind of have a moment of solace where Rebecca apologizes for being angry and not really doing anything because I guess it really is only a year out since Emily died, and
Yeah.
Avery has a joke where she's like, "Okay, but I'm not gonna call you my aunt."
Yeah.
So
Alyssa and Landon are plotting for Avery and Grayson to do like a little televised interview so they can block Sky and Ricky from doing more stories out there. So Grayson and Avery are going to go do some sword fighting in the hedge maze.
yeah, because they
To
gotta blow
kind
off steam.
Yeah, to blow off steam, prep for this. They get a little close and like almost flirty, but it's nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it feels like they're like holding the swords like 2 inches apart from each other, and then she is like, "What are we doing?" And Grayson goes, "I don't know."
And then we smash cut to this interview.
Smash
And
cut.
it's going really, really well so far. Grayson is polished. He's been media training since he was in diapers. But then the interviewer drops about Harry being Toby and what's that all about? And Grayson, pissed, stops the interview and cameras start following them out of the building. So
Yeah.
Grayson kisses Avery so she doesn't say anything to the people.
Oh my god, TMZ having a heyday. Page 6 is
I feel
ready.
like, and here's the thing, I just also think this is a bad strategy. Like, this looks weird. Like, you stopped an interview and now you're making out with a girl. That's strange to me.
Well, it's also like for all of the PR training you've done, wouldn't you think that that move is just going to cause more of a drama? Well, I guess I mean it's probably fine, but also
Yeah. Like, I
if
would think, like, maybe run faster to get out of the building.
we're trying to like save her reputation, and for a young woman in America to be caught kissing someone who I guess maybe she took his fortune, I feel like the next day it would be like whore
Yeah.
Avery
She'd be like, wow,
contempt.
little Hawthorne slut Avery. It's just like, well,
Hawthorne harlot.
oh, that's a
Ooh.
headline.
We're
But
running a smear campaign against Avery now.
and
It's
Alyssa is
official.
pissed at the Hawthorne harlot.
Yeah.
So Avery and Grayson are like, we gotta tell you the backstory so you understand. So they give her the fill in that, like, okay, we're playing this game. Toby's probably alive. He might be Avery's dad. And then
Yeah.
Alyssa's like, okay,
Exposition.
great. You filled me in. No more secrets. And Avery's like, okay, well, if there's no more secrets, Toby was probably adopted and he's a Laughlin. And that's everything you need to know, which I thought was hilarious.
She's rubbing her head. She's going, "Ay caramba, I'm gonna need an Advil or 7."
She is.
Meanwhile,
She's so doing that. You're so right.
she's having an "Ay caramba" aside.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jameson visits Avery later that night. Ooh la la, and whether he's upset about the kiss between her and Grayson really has yet to be revealed.
Yeah.
But he does mention that Libby and Nash are coming home with a message. Oren then also reveals that Eli is the one who leaked the Toby news.
And
Not good.
he also did the heart omen and the snake omen. So like needless to say, Eli he's gone. He's fired.
Canceled.
Canceled.
He's a
Rid of
canceled.
it. So the gang's like, let's debrief in the study. Let's gather our bearings. Libby and Nash are coming back, but Zara's gonna come in
Uh,
with a gun
with a gun.
instead.
Someone's armed Zara, and
It sounds like
uh
Zara's aren't Zara, if you know what I mean.
Zara's gone into their little Winchester gunnery. And she is like, "Tell me about Toby now." And they say he's alive. And then Nash shows up, and I do love this moment because Zara is kind of wielding a gun, and she has an intimate moment with Oren where she's like, "You know, I'd never kill a kid." And I'd be like, "Sorry, you have a fucking gun. What am I supposed
Yeah.
to assume here?"
We also learned that she had an affair with Oren some years ago, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And we learned that Zara had an affair with Nash's dad in adulthood as well. So, like, someone she dated when she was younger who had a baby with Sky, she also had an affair with later in life. So, Zara, she works
Yeah.
hard.
It seems like they all had a fun summer up at that ski cabin in Colorado because there was like that
Woo.
photo of them there. So,
Yeah. Hey,
dang.
ski instructor, you know what they say.
Clothes aren't the only thing that sisters
Yeah,
share, I
the
guess.
slopes are cold. I don't know. Uh,
So,
so
after
they have a
this,
letter that they have to unink together in the study.
them and their invisible ink and their heat
They're
source or whatever.
sluts for their invisible ink.
Exactly. So in this, it's essentially Tobias laying out that he hopes dividing up the will this way will make them appreciate each other more and not be driven by greed. And it also lists places at the bottom of the will. And Avery realizes these are places from her mom's postcards.
Yeah, and also, like, Tobias is, like, leaves an address to a deposit box where he's been keeping all of this information that he's been keeping on the fire to investigate it over the years to kind of figure
Mhm.
out where Toby might be. And we also learned that Avery's mom's real name is Hannah and not Sarah, which I think would be a huge bomb drop if you just found out your mom had a different name.
Oh my god, I would be so upset. I would feel like totally betrayed,
Yeah.
honestly.
But Avery's able to use blacklight on these postcards that she has, and she's realizing that Toby and her mom were like in deep love with each other. And we learned that he did lose his memory. We knew that her mom knew about the fire,
And a
and we
bigger
also
twist.
learn
Yep.
that Hannah is Kaylee's sister.
Yeah, her mom is the sister of the woman who died in this fire, and essentially the Hawthorne family kind of like blamed the whole thing on her.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yikes.
Not
Yikes.
good. He says to go to it, Jackson, which we're kind of assuming is Jackson, Mississippi, to her mom in these letters to find something he left there. Avery obviously can't go because she is sequestered to this house,
Yeah.
essentially. She can't really leave it for a year if she wants this fortune. And so it's going to have to be someone else who goes to Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, Avery at the school the next day does talk with Jameson on the roof for a little bit. Xander interrupts and says, like, hey, Avery, what if you called your mom's mom and see if she could help at all? And we get this horrible, like, 2-page exchange of Hannah's mom just horrific, saying the most awful things, basically saying that she would have killed Hannah had she not already died of natural causes.
Yeah, she says something about putting a bullet in her head.
Yikes. So we know not to call grandma anymore. She is bad news.
Yeah, so she's kind of like standing and she's losing it, and Jameson tells her to just stand on the roof and breathe for a little bit. Also,
Mhm.
really love Jameson's pretty pissed off when Xander comes to interrupt their moment because it does seem like Avery is about to say that she loves him, was what
Yep.
I was picking up.
Mhm.
Sucks to suck, Jameson.
After school, Zara comes by with the folder from the deposit box. The TLDR here is we learn that Toby didn't set the fire. It was a planned setting of the fire, and they had doused the house in accelerant,
Crazy.
and lightning from a storm that night caused the house to go ablaze. So that's how everybody perished. It seemed like they were gonna pull something, and something pulled twice as hard on them, and a fisherman saved Toby from the ocean.
Yeah, I guess too, when you douse an entire house in gasoline, you can't really be that shocked when it
Like,
catches
oh,
on
okay, this
fire.
was a bigger fire than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh no, I swear to God, it was natural sources that were kind of
We were just trying to cause a
accelerated.
tiny fire and be angry together, but it didn't work out.
So Rockaway Beach, where this house is where they're going to head to because it seems like they have to go to this guy Jackson there.
We also have to
Uh,
talk about momentarily here that Grayson's calls and he's like, "Oh, I'm already here." Like, that's actually insane behavior to be like, "We're not going to talk about this at all. You're just going to show up there."
yeah, and it seems like he hasn't been briefed at all on the fact that Avery did talk to her grandma, and she's like, "Okay, pause, because my mom's family owns that entire beach apparently, and they are like not
They're
the
not chill.
smallest time criminals there, and will probably kill you." And Grayson's like, "It's fine."
He's like, "I don't have emotions. It's fine." So he's going to go look for Jackson, the fisherman. And Jackson says he will talk to Avery, but not on the phone. He doesn't trust it.
Love, you gotta love a crazy old,
Yeah.
a cuckoo bananas old guy.
Kooky guy.
So she's gonna have to fly out there. She goes alone. Jameson doesn't follow her, and Jackson does open the door for her only. And when she goes in, he gives her a letter from Toby implying he left in the night because he doesn't think he deserved love from Hannah, her mom.
Yeah, just really sad. So Avery does tell Jackson that Hannah is in fact deceased, and he's
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I have more letters that Hannah wrote for Toby." We don't know how he got these because you would assume that Toby would have them, but maybe she was like kind of stockpiling them in case he ever came back. I don't know. Maybe Toby dropped them there. We don't know.
Sweet.
But she's like, "Great, I got these letters. They're gonna give me some more answers." And they're heading back to the plane because they're on a time ticker. They cannot stay the night here. And there is an explosion.
I know, right as she's thinking about Jameson, she's like, maybe I should just reveal how I feel about him, and it's just explosion. Pew!
Poof, explosion. Avery's unconscious.
She's having flashbacks with her mom telling her not to go towards the dark, go towards the light. You know, all that shit when you are dying. And I assume her heart is getting resuscitated in these moments of her having flashes of like seeing herself dead. She does overhear in this moment Jameson yelling at Grayson for just standing there and not running towards her. And he basically implies Grayson is in love with her and Jameson is too, and it's not just a game to him anymore. And then she wakes up in the hospital.
Well, she actually wakes up in her room and
Oh,
she's
wait, yeah,
got
she
she's
does.
got hospital gear all up in there. And Max's mom is there because she's a doctor. And they were like, we needed someone close to us that we could trust. So it's Max's mom.
Mhm,
And she's a good doctor. And Oren's gonna come in and give us the debrief on what the hell just happened. So he confirms that the bomb was on the plane for
mhm.
days prior to this trip and
Since
then triggered,
Colorado.
yeah, and triggered remotely, and 2 of his people died. And then Alyssa
Mhm.
comes in and is like, yeah, the bomb was traced back to Sky and Ricky. And also the DNA test has come back, and Ricky is her dad.
I'd be like, "Can I go back to the coma,
I
please?"
literally would be like, could I just watch TV for like 2 hours before you come bombarding me with information? Oh my God.
I know, poor her. Jameson does come in though and says, so sweet. He came in to see her every day, and she's not a puzzle or a riddle to him. And whenever, if she wants to, she is ready to kiss him. She can flip this disc that he recovered from the bombing. He says, "Heads, I will kiss you. Tails, you kiss me. And either way, it means something."
Yeah.
I
It's
thought that was
really
really
sweet. He
cute.
also implies that he's like in love with her, but he's like, this is where I'm at and I don't expect you to be here. I'll be ready whenever you are, which is really, really sweet.
I know.
Some days later, Thea comes and knocking on Avery's fireplace,
Yeah, she does.
and Thea's like, Grayson's in trouble. And Avery's like, yeah, let me step into the fireplace. It's not weird that Thea's showing up into my bedchamber this way. And it's a ruse. And somebody grabs Avery, and Thea's like yelling that she's sorry, but she had to do it. So that's fucked.
Yeah, apparently they have Rebecca, and Thea's like, Hey, I ride or die for Rebecca."
Yeah.
It seems that it's Melly and Grayson's dad who have her strapped to this chair. They set the bomb to try to lure Toby to the hospital, but it doesn't work because Elisa had her moved. Because, as we know, there is a clause that's like she has to be on the Hawthorne estate to get the estate, whatever.
Eh,
Um, so Sheffield also says that he did a DNA test, um, and doesn't really reveal what he knows, but he's kind of indicating that Toby is her father, so
Yeah,
he
that his
doesn't
DNA test
know.
is different and somehow more accurate. We don't know what that means.
Mhm.
But Sheffield was right. Toby does show up. Sheffield's got a gun. Avery's able to break away from the chair, and Sheffield's like, whoa, 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 I'll kill both of you. And Melly weirdly turns from villain to hero. She's so overridden with guilt over this that she shoots Sheffield dead.
Yeah, and also Sheffield had doused the place in kerosene, I think,
We
to
love to douse
also
things in this book.
we have
Douse
to
it up,
not.
baby.
I mean, they don't learn from the actions of their consequences. It does seem that Melly gave Sheffield a DNA test that was actually from her mom, who was one of Toby's one night flings. Because another thing was Toby was running through chicks that one summer that
Hey,
he set
yeah.
a house on fire. He was running through chicks.
It's just, hey, you're horny when you're a teenager. You gotta do something.
That is true.
Hormones are running rampant.
You can do what I do, which I still do at 30, which is read Vampire Smut. I guess I did that at 15 all the time.
Think
I
about
never
that.
never touched. Um, Definitely didn't have a daughter, but Toby does have a daughter. Her name is Eve, who will be
And
Melly's kid, their sister.
yeah, it's Melly and Eli, they're actual siblings, and Eve is their half sister. So that's how Melly was able to like kind of sway the DNA test. Melly running off after her murder, Sheffield laying dead on the ground. Avery and Toby are have like a little like hey, what's up moment? Like, what's going on? And so we learned that Toby just delivered Avery. He named her. He always loved Hannah. He always saw Avery as his kid, even though they're not biologically related. And he kind of gives her this very Grayson-esque story of why he
Oh my god,
stays
right?
away. It's so broody. It's so like melancholy. It's so like, I'm so guilty that I can't fathom being a normal guy. It's like, okay. But
It is kind of crazy that she was like delivered during a power outage too.
yeah, that is crazy. And he's like, "But Avery, you have to get out of here. The cops are going to be looking for this soon. I swear they're after Sheffield or something." And then Oren shows up because he's a great tracker, and he like whisks her away before that they can even talk further. And yeah, and then she's gone.
Exactly. Oren's also gonna disable the secret passages, and the person who she's gonna tell everything to, you're like, oh, Jameson. No, 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 it's gonna be Xander.
Xander,
She's
I
gonna
mean, Xander's a good guy. And yeah, she's gonna talk to him. He's also gonna let her know that he made those Star Wars droids that Max wanted.
very sweet. And
Very
his
sweet.
next step is going to be looking for his father.
Yeah.
Avery does get an apology from Thea, which she fucking better,
Yeah.
saying that it's always gonna be Rebecca, and Avery does reveal that about what happened with Grayson's father, that he's freaking kaput now, and
Yeah.
she tells him she's done running and she's ready to choose something. And we end on this very sweet scene for the romance lovers out there where she goes to see Jameson, tells him Tobias took the disc with all the information on it, but she does have a coin that she flips and it lands on tails, so she says, I kiss you, and they
Mm, cute.
kiss.
And they're gonna be a thing
And
now.
it kind of ends there.
It not kind of. It does end there.
It
There's a
does, it
third
does.
book.
Well, I mean, I don't
Um,
know. When you kiss
but the
someone, there's
podcast
so much
doesn't end
more. But
there.
no.
No, no, no. Meg, should we do our definitive ranking of the Hawthorne boys now that we've concluded book 2 first, or should we do our top 5 first?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's do our Hawthorne pyramid
I
because I think
love.
that we did it first last time, but I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so too. Do you want to go first? Should I go first? What's the
I will go
vibe?
first.
Yes.
For the Hawthorne pyramid, coming in at number 4, bottom of the pyramid, we're gonna start with Grayson. Just
A
what was he
big
giving this
big
book?
descent on the pyramid for him. I think he was 2 last time. So that's a big drop from 2 to 4. Grayson was so like so awful this book in a way because he was just like so broody and so just like bad at communicating. I hated it.
Yeah, for how much she pursues him, I just feel like he plays his cards way too close to his chest. Like, if
Yeah.
you want to be in the game, you gotta get off the bench a little bit, brother.
Grayson's one of those like guys that's just never going to be happy because he's just so like in his own head about thinking about how great and amazing he is that he like doesn't have to try that hard, and it's like, dude, you have to actually try.
You gotta try a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, coming at step up on the pyramid, is Nash. And we didn't love him this book either. He's kind of there. He's kind of a floater. I don't think we got any interesting details on Nash. He didn't really help with the plot much either. Sometimes, starting to finishing the first book and definitely reading this book, I kind of felt like Jennifer Lynn Barnes had trouble like with what Nash's purpose should be. Uh,
Yeah,
and I feel like that's something I'll even get to in the third book because he's kind of useless.
you would think he is the big brother, but how Jameson and Grayson interact, it kind of feels like one of them is the eldest.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2, speaking of, it's gonna be Jameson. I mean, definitely, listen, I love heads. It's gonna mean something about the kiss. That was a great
Yeah.
little line.
I mean, I think the reason Jameson did get a higher up on the pyramid this week is because Jameson, unlike Grayson, is not afraid to actually address and face his feelings. He's being open and honest about them. He's confronting them directly. He's also not putting any pressure on Avery to feel the exact same way, which I really respect.
Oh God, that's so true. You love
Yeah.
someone who knows their stake and their place and can wait. Be
Yeah.
patient. And coming in at number 1, our roundhouse fave. We love Xander making droids for our girl Max. Just kind of a boy with a crush.
Boy with a crush and
I love
boy
him. He's so
boy
fun.
Xander is such a well-rounded character. I think he is such a great addition to this book series.
I agree. And that's going to be the Hawthorne Pyramid from the week. Thank you for joining us, Dance Moms. Moving on to our top 5. For this one, our Fallen from Grace, Grayson. We're going to talk about the top 5 other ways Grayson could have distracted the paparazzi. Then kissing
Because
Avery, that just kind of felt like a gut
it
decision
kind
that
of
wasn't
just feels
great.
like Grayson's like grasping at straws. It's not okay to kiss people without consent. We don't like that.
Exactly, exactly. You want to take this
Let's
one since I took
I'll
it last time?
I'll take it. Starting in at number 5 on lists of things Grayson could have done as a distraction to the cameras and interviewer, he should have been taking bananas from Crafty and
Mhm.
quickly peeling them and throwing the peels on the ground so the people following them would start slipping and sliding all over the place. Foolproof plan.
Because you know in
Foolproof
the
plan.
Inheritance games, they also have a sound effect that is gonna play in the
Yeah.
background of this scene, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I need to hear it. Coming in at number 4, he reveals he has a tramp stamp. I think turning over and letting it loose is the way to go.
Think about what a distraction if the interviewer's like, I heard that Toby might still be alive and he might be a homeless man named Harry. And he goes, wait, wait, wait. But what if I had a cool tattoo that nobody knows about?
And it just says Team Bella on his back.
Amazing. Of course it does.
Or Diet Coke.
Or Diet Coke or both. He has two
We
right next to each other.
we gotta figure out something about his personality. There's gotta be
He needs
something.
give him give him an interest or something. Like sword fighting and swimming doesn't count. I'm sorry.
Doesn't
That those are
count.
activities. I want an actual like I really like this movie or something.
Yeah.
Number 3 on this list is we think Xander should have shut this interviewer right the fuck up and punched them in the face.
You mean Grayson?
Yeah. Sorry, did I
Yeah.
say Jameson?
No, you said Xander.
Oh, Xander. I
Ooh
think
la la.
best brother on my mind. Grayson should have
Always.
shut this interviewer right up and punched them in the face.
Absolutely. And if he wasn't gonna punch him in the face, maybe number 2, he should have worn a giant Teletubby outfit. We think that's a great distraction.
Think about it. Interviewer can't get their questions out because they're like, why is Grayson wearing a giant Teletubby costume? This is
You've
the most personality he's ever had.
you've already paused the interview, okay? So I imagine they take you to the green room, just be like, "Oh, let me put on my Tinky Winky outfit."
Oh, I was thinking he was showing up wearing it just as a precaution.
Oh my god. Yeah, maybe. And
There's
they're
options. There's options here.
Avery's like, "Grayson, what is going on?" He's like, "Don't worry. I got the sun in the background in the green room too if you really want to join in."
And this number 1 is we think that
Classic.
Grayson should take a page out of Peeta Malark's book. And when the interviewer starts asking about Toby and Harry still being alive, he says something like, we could definitely talk about that if it weren't for the baby.
Gasp. And then they go
Amazing,
up into the
right?
arena.
Amazing.
They go up into the arena. They figure out it's the clock. Crazy shit
Crazy shit.
happens.
Too crazy for me. So fucking funny. I'm dead.
And if you want to be dead with us, I don't have this.
No, that was
You
great.
know,
I loved it.
I mean, really, we're online wherever online is now, kind of the same as
I
last
think we
week.
have to make a Blue Sky account. That seems like it's about to be really popular, so I think we should go there.
Follow Maggie and Laura, the first Blue Sky influencers on Blue Sky. I'll literally set it up tonight. Should we be
Cool.
Maggie and Laura or should we be Yaoi Reddit?
Maggie and Laura, I feel like we're still a brand, you know?
Okay, we'll be Maggie and Laura, or Yaoi. I don't know. Just find us. Just you
Find
know
us.
where we're at. We're around.
Actually, you know what? No, go looking for us. You don't know where we are.
Yeah,
Go
we're gonna
on
set
your own
clues.
scavenger hunt. We're Tobias Hawthorne.
And if you really want to know where to find us, if you're like, I'm done with this quest,
Yeah.
Maggie and Laura present at gmail.com is a safe bet for you to
Hey,
find us.
hey, if you tap out, we'll tell you. Send us an email.
Exactly. And that's going to be it for this episode of Hawthorne Legacy. We will see you next for the final gambit.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum,
Which I just learned is
bum.
a chess move and not a Netflix show.
Did you seriously just learn that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we love to learn. It's
Queen's
amazing.
Gambit.
Queen's
That's
Gambit.
a thing.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. See you next time. Bye.